Welcome into your tiny reading for this week. I am T from Tiny Divinations, coming in to break down your cards. So, this week we have our three piles as usual. We also have three different power animals for each pile. So, pick the pile or piles that resonate with you, and I will see you in your reading. Welcome in pile one to your week ahead reading. Let's get into your cards. So, the first thing we have is your power animal, groundhog. Let's get into your cards for this week. Each of the piles were more of themes for the week than energy for the week. So, let's get into your theme for this week. Sacrifice is our first card, movements, choices, decisions, and destiny. So, in terms of the themes for this week, it seems like there's a couple of different themes going on, right? We have the idea of letting go and removing things to be able to clear the way for you to either be able to make decisions that you need to make or to clear the way for you to be able to bring in opportunities for change and movement into your life, for you to better align with things, for you to clear things out to better align, things like that, right? There's also this idea with sacrifice of like putting in boundaries. Part of the sacrifice has to do with you putting in things in place and sacrificing the flexibility in a sense. Um, so, getting into the themes of your week, we have themes of letting go, themes of putting boundaries up. And both of these things seem to be put in place so that you can better be able to see where you can go or what the fuck. I don't know why this is so hard today. So, the major themes of your week, starting with sacrifice. The sacrifice card has to do in this week with letting things go, removing things, um, realizing and recognizing what you've brought from the past that needs to be let go so that you can clear shit out and be able to either make decisions that you need to make or to be able to move forward, right? The sacrifices card also has to do with putting boundaries in place and actually recognizing where you don't have boundaries in place or where you have let things become more lax than they need to be. And again, this is all in accordance with movement, opportunities, having to make decisions about things, having to choose between things that are best for you, and all of this within alignment of like who I am, who I want to be, where I am now, like overarching themes like that. Like I said, with the sacrifice next to the movement and choices, there's definitely things that people may need to be making decisions on this week. I feel like we talked about that last week, and we definitely talked about that in the monthly reading. There's things that people need to move on. There's choices that need to be made in terms of like what we do and where do we go. And again, it seems like it's involving growth and success in terms of the choices, decisions, movements that we're making. For some people, this week is about the idea of letting go of the fear and the anxiety that you've had and moving forward, knowing that whatever is going to happen is going to be the best for you. It's almost like deciding to come out of this more negative space or this more fearful space and daring the universe to show you what life can look like if you are willing to let go or put in place the things that they ask you to do to move forward. There's like lessons and opportunities to align with growth this week based on learning from the things that happened in the past or based on making the decision to move forward from the things that happened or making the decision to clear shit out and again wanting growth or wanting more success or wanting to move forward. And there's the alignment of being able to know what that looks like this week too, in terms of either what it could look like or what steps you need to take or what you need to let go or what boundaries have been lax or like, to be shown what you need to let, what you're being asked to do to move forward. Within your cards, we also have the messages from your groundhog. So the animals I picked before I shuffled and got the cards. And again, as usual, they always go together. So, groundhog was about boundaries, meditation, and dreaming. And the shaman's intention for the groundhog is join me in my dreams and cleanse me of my fears, of all my fears, excuse me. So again, even in the idea that we have this person in the sacrifice card in the water, there's an idea that we need to be able to tap into our unconscious this week and be able to clear shit out. There's this idea that we need to tap into the energy and the identity of water and be able to allow flow and what needs to go to flow out and what needs to come in to come in. There's the um, also the idea of like the unconscious with the water and the meditation and the dreaming and the aspect of like paying attention to your actual dreams this week and allowing that to give you some of the answers about how you can move or what needs to go, but also dreaming in the sense of like aligning with what you want and dreaming in the positive, or thinking in the sense of like good things can happen to me, daring life to show you what could happen, believing that the best things can happen, or that you're out of a more fucked up space and going into a more successful, positive place. Let's get a few more cards and see if there's anything else going on this week that they want to bring our attention to. Okay. Is there anything else in terms of this theme or any other themes that are coming up for pile one for this week? Firm foundation. And then on the bottom, fulfillment of wishes. So with the firm foundations and the fulfillment of wishes, again, it's bringing in the idea that like with not only the knowledge that you've acquired and the wisdom, firm foundations, bringing in the root chakra, again, speaking of security, stability, the foundations that you're building off of, but also speaking of the wisdom that you build off of, the lessons that you learn from, things like that. And then the fulfillment of wishes, again, what you want, what you dream of, how big can you dream? What does that look like for you? What's in the treasure chest? Okay. So again, aligning with destiny, but in a more tangible way, and sacrifices and movements and choices to get to a more stable position or to get to a solid position. And this is kind of either what's on our minds or what comes up this week or what we need to kind of think about or work through. So to align more with this energy, let's pull some surrender cards to see what you can do this week to help you move in this way or to help you be able to work through these things. Okay. So the first card we had was surrender procrastination. Now is the time to jump on a goal instead of putting it off. Taking action will attract success. Okay. Then we had surrender your need to always be right. Give others the gift of letting them be right. Be yielding, not rigid. This will help resolve conflicts and improve your relationships. It also feels like because we're talking about your life and like moving in more alignment, it'll also help you move more in alignment with where you're supposed to go. We then had surrender comparisons with other people. Keep your eyes trained on yourself, focus on your own strengths, attractiveness, and power. Don't allow yourself to get caught up in what other people have and allow that to stop you from what you should be doing. And then surrender to the wisdom of your body. Listen to your body's message about a person or situation. If you feel physically drained or uncomfortable, be cautious, move, let it go. Like we talked about, clear it out, set boundaries, right? If you are energized and happy, move forward. And again, for those people who have to make decisions or, decide between things, this is definitely a good tool to be able to utilize to help you be able to make decisions, especially if your head is very like jumbled or confused about what to do. Okay. So I think that these make sense to me in terms of surrenders. We had the action of the movement and choices. So it's not that you can keep putting this off. If there's something that you specifically have to do, or something that you need to be thinking about, or something that you need to be clearing out, and that you know that you need to be clearing out, or shit that you know you need to be setting boundaries around, this week is the time to do it. If you put it off, it will only hinder you. It will only make you more frustrated. It will only, make a situation more unbearable, is what I just heard. So do what you got to do. Take care of what you got to take care of. Okay. The next thing we have, like we talked about, in terms of being more rigid than you need to be to have things work out the way that you want them to. Um, there's some people that it's like you're hindering yourself, even though you think you're trying to help yourself, or you think you are helping yourself. There's ways in which the way that you think, the ways that you move, um, are actually hurting you, not helping you. So that's something that needs to kind of be meditated on or sussed out or like thought about. Um, it may be because we talked about boundaries, and maybe that you have like too rigid boundaries, but I don't necessarily think that that's what it is. If it's rigid boundaries, it's in your thinking, and it's in how you move, and it's in what you think you should be doing. And if you are not where you think you should be, and you have been, like, let's say, doing the same things or thinking the same ways for so long, then this week is telling you it's wrong. How you've been thinking is wrong. How you've been moving is wrong. That's not to tell you that you are wrong. That's to give you information and let you know you need to straighten up. You need to fix that. You need to figure out how we're moving, like, in unright mindedness, or how we've been thinking and how that shit served us before, but how it's not serving us now, and how we need to clear that out, how we can change that, how we can become anew in habits, perspective, um, actions, things like that, right? And like I said, part of this has to do with you looking at, well, this person has this, or these people are doing that, and I should have been this, and I don't have that, and blah blah blah, and or these people are doing this, and these people are doing that, and I don't think that I can do it like them, or yada 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 yada, and it's not about what the fuck other people are doing. If you're being pushed one way, then you're being pushed that way for a reason. It's about you. They're not pushing you that way because they're looking at other people. Your spirit team is pushing you that way because they're watching you, because they know you, because they can see you better than you can see yourself. Okay. And then, like I said, in terms of the people who need to make decisions, or the people even outside of making decisions, um, just being able to move in the world, the more that you utilize your intuition, the more that you know the difference between yourself talking, your fear talking, your guides talking, the more that you know how your um, body talks to you, how your intuition talks to you, how your clairs talk to you, how your psychic senses show up, the more you're able to utilize that. And we need that more than anything in this world. It's tools. These are all tools for you to be able to use, for you to be able to use. So in order to, again, be in right alignment where they're taking you, in order to want to be able to sacrifice or to let go and to clear things out, like, this is part of what they're talking about, so that you can align in your body and feel these things. Part of why you can't feel these things in your body is because there's too much shit all around you. So there's shit that needs to be cleared out, like I talked about with the water. Part of their understanding, like I said, of understanding these different voices, is sitting with yourself, is having these meditative states where you actually are able to, like, ask yourself questions or think about different things. And if your perspective is not that, and that's not something that you normally do, then this is not going to, be a tool that you're able to train or to build up. So again, all of these things coming in to say that there are some parts of us that need to change and be removed and looked at, and we need to work on that this week. We definitely need to sit with the habits and perspectives that we may have that may be hindering us, and tapping into how we understand how our body and our intuition talks to us. Okay, so these are ways that we can best align with the things that we talked about in the first part of the reading. Let's end the reading by getting some words of wisdom for this week. Okay, let's end the reading with some words of wisdom. Okay, so we have soul loss and transform with Raven. These are beautiful cards. Just looking at this one initially, there's a lot of grief and mourning in the card. It looks like there's also like a lot of water. It feels like a card of shift and transition. Like it reminds me of almost like the Ten of Swords. And this person looks similar, even with the purple in their hair. So this looks like almost after the period after the grief and mourning, the period after the change or the loss. And she's, stronger. She has wings. She looks more knowledgeable and centered. So let's see what the book says about each of these cards. Getting into the soul loss card. Soul loss represents powerlessness and a loss of identity. Traumatic events shake us to our core so much so that the soul is disconnected from the body and lost in the confusion as we try to make sense of the chaos. It's natural to lose a connection to the truest parts of yourself after trauma. Major events are not only incidents that can trigger trauma, small traumas can accumulate to call the soul to suddenly and unexpectedly sever its tether to the body. To regain your soul, look to the last time you felt unconditional joy and existed without outside influence. Seek your inner child, that part of your being that still remembers how to laugh and how to approach the world with a curious wonder. Connect to Mother Earth and the simple pleasures of the sun on your face and grass between your toes. Allow yourself to feel inspired and to see the beauty in new adventures and experiences. Notice what feels good or comes naturally to you. Play without any expectations to remind your soul what joy feels like. Replace suffering with the process of getting to know yourself again. And then on this side, we have working for you to do. If you want to do that, you can screenshot that one with my fingers out the way. Makes a lot of sense to what we're talking about, and aligning with your destiny, the being able to let things go. Yeah, the mourning that comes with that. Okay. Getting into transform with Raven. Raven is a symbol of transcendence and a need for new perspective. And we just talked about that. Intelligent and able to quickly adapt to changing circumstances, these sleek black birds see potential where others may see uselessness. If you are in need of resources and unable to see how you can make a situation or project work, Raven is here to tell you that you have more available to you than you know. To channel Raven is to welcome inventiveness and resourcefulness. Raven thinks outside the box, asking, where can I shift my consciousness to help me solve this problem? Instead of going through, is it possible to go around, below, or above my challenge? Is there something I already have that can be reinvented and used for a different purpose to help me now? Additionally, this card reminds us that being resourceful doesn't mean you have to have all the answers. There is strength and intelligence in asking for guidance from other people and from Mother Earth where you don't know what comes next. There are certainly times to stand alone, but it's also okay to seek communal resources that can benefit the good of all involved. And then again, each card has a working So if you'd like to screenshot that and do that one. Okay. So these are your words of wisdom. Excuse me. So these are your words of wisdom. We talked a lot about the things that came up in both cards. I think they make sense. If the reflection or the working resonates for you, then please definitely take part in it. Feel free to add things, change things as you see fit, as you feel comfortable. This is your reading for the week, pile one. Let me know how your week is. Let me know if y'all need to talk. Let me know if, you know, things come up for you this week or how this reading resonates for you. It definitely was not all bad. So I hope that y'all can feel that. And if you have any questions or anything, let me know. Comment, share, like, follow. If you'd like your own reading, book with me, wildheartbotanica.com. We have 2 offerings right now. Like I let y'all know, I will put a third up there before the month is over. Follow me on everything at Tiny Divinations. And if you have another pile, I will see you there. If not, thank you so much for reading with me. I will see you in the next reading. Welcome in pile 2 to your Tiny Week Ahead reading. Let's get into your cards. So the first thing we have is your power animal. You have frog, and we will get into that with your cards. The cards you have for the theme of your week: financial and material change, light, and crown chakra. They actually came out this way. Okay, so getting into your week. This should be a prosperous week for you, pal, too. Okay, so there's definitely a lot of energy for things to come in, not just financial gains and material gains, but knowledge, celestial connection, like being able to tap in, being able to know what to do, having the knowing of where to go and like what's right, and like being able to call shit in and things like that. Like there's very palpable energy here for you this week. We have the crown chakra and the light card. The light card is the star card in like a normal tarot deck. So with these 3 cards, it seems like there's some kind of shift or a change to your finances. There's an energy of hope being brought in, or the like idea that you can see the light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to your finances or your opportunities, or how you're able to like take care of things, or what you're able to bring in or something like that. If you've had a financial or material change recently that um, seemed, let's say, more negative, right? These cards suggest that this week you get the evidence that there's a reason for the season. You know what I mean? Or there's like there's rhyme to the reason, or however that fucking saying goes, you know what I mean? But like you'll understand that things are being guided, that shit was removed for a reason, or that shit shifted and it's not going to stay that way for as long as you might have thought it was, or it doesn't even really look like you thought it looked, because again, it's being spiritually led, it's being spiritually taken care of, things like that. Like this is the energy that it feels like with these cards. We also have your power animal, frog, and the things that went with frog are transformation, prosperity, fertility, and the shaman's intention is enhance my knowledge of the clearing process so I may remove all toxic thoughts. Okay, thoughts having to do with your crown chakra, having to do with having faith, belief. That's all with thoughts, clearing out fears, anxieties around what you have, what's coming, um, how destitute you may actually be if it's that situation, right? We also had, and I picked the animals. Like I shuffled Mancy the animals before I shuffled and got the cards. So with every deck, or excuse me, with every pile, like I said to pile one, all of the animals went perfectly with the cards. Again, we have prosperous energy, we have the energy of birth and fertility and transformation, and all of that shows up in these cards, whether it's bringing in knowledge, bringing in opportunity, bringing in money and finances, having success, having quick wealth this week, having prosperity come in different forms, believing that it's coming in different forms, and being able to change your mindset around that this week is all within these cards and the animal. Again, the enhance my knowledge of the clearing process, right? Clearing things out so that you can sit in the belief, clearing things out so that you can have the intuit to know what to do, to have divine guidance and knowledge, and be able to input that to be able to make real financial and material changes in your future, in your upcoming days and weeks. There's also the energy with the light of like people being able to shine in some way this week. Or maybe you can shine financially, like I said, with a windfall or a win, or to shine in terms of like being very knowledgeable about what you're doing, or being like the positive light for people, or the sunshine in someone's life or someone's day, or in your own life or day. Like that energy comes up this week too, if you're able to clear out the fear or the anxiety or the more negative thoughts. It feels like you're being like a more sunshiny disposition. So let me pull some more cards and see if there's anything else in terms of themes for this week. Truth, another light card, hope, fertility. Yeah. So very much the same themes that we already talked about. Um, Normally, this card is about balance, but I almost see this as him moving forward onto the other plate, having to make the jump or the leap onto the other side. And I know, like in the sense of balance, it would make it unbalanced, but it in this sense, it almost looks like we're trying to get through this door. And so, in order to do that, you have to take the leap of faith on himself. He'd have to, um, make a faith based decision to be able to jump and be able to get on the other side. And that kind of feels like where we're at and where part of this week brings up for us. If you've already been feeling that, it feels like this is like a transition moment of you realizing, like, um, either things are moving in the direction that we want them to, or things aren't necessarily as bad as we think they are, or like trouble don't last always, right? And for others, or and also there's this idea of actually being able to know what to do to move to these spaces, to be able to birth something new or better or transformative, to be able to grow, whether again materially, knowledge based, because it's around her head. We have the roots of the tree and the leaves, so it could very much be tangible, but this is the energy. It's the themes are very much the same. So let's pull some surrender cards and see how we align with this energy. Okay. So in terms of ways to best align with the cards we have, surrender to silence, surrender worry, surrender to your soul's plan, surrender your attachment to results. Quick, fast. I like that. Okay. Starting with surrender to silence. In quiet meditation or contemplation, let go and enter stillness within. Silence can heal and replenish you. Again, we're talking about obtaining knowledge, celestial connections, and one way to do that is to be able to silence yourself, is to be able to tap into the other side by, letting go of things in the terrestrial. So, like for example, turning things off, not having music playing, not having a screen on in front of you, putting earphones on, kind of just like quieting the space, quieting your mind, bringing yourself into darkness to be able to get information or to connect with the other side. Surrender to your soul's path. Your life's journey has been perfectly designed for your soul's growth. Embrace every lesson and moment. Then we have surrender worry, and we talked about that too. Make a commitment not to lead an anxiety driven life. When worries arise, breathe them out of your body. Focus on the power of your heart and have faith that spirit is guiding you always. And is, okay? And we talked about that. And there's the opportunity to actually obtain the spiritual knowledge and the spiritual guidance in a tangible way this week. Okay. And then surrender your attachment to results. The formula for success is to do all you can to make things happen and then let go of the results. Holding on too tightly to a desired outcome can sabotage it. So these are the surrenders that I have for ways that we can best align with the things that we have coming in this week, the themes that we have this week. We already talked about the worry. We talked about aligning with the things that you want, the things that you want to have. And even better than that, we talked about, being in situations and recognizing that trouble don't last always. And that more than that, these are lessons and that everything is happening to you for a reason. And there's something you're supposed to take from this. Surrendering your attachment to results, because you may not see it as quickly as you think you're supposed to, or it may not come in the package that you think it's supposed to, or it may not, arrive in the situation that you think it's supposed to. But that does not mean that it's not designed to still be the best for you. That does not mean that you're not still going to have the finest things, or, the best, most happy, most fulfilling life. But you have to allow things to play out and not think that, um, you know, worrying about what happened is going to change anything or make anything different, you know? I hope this makes sense. So let's end the reading with some words of wisdom. Getting some words of wisdom for this week. Okay. So we have womb and abundance. We definitely talked about the fertility and the frog, the energy to birth, the energy to bring things in, the energy to transformation is birth, right? Birth is the portal also to the other side. And so, like, there's all of the things that we kind of talked about within this one card. And within the next card, we talked about the tangible, the abundance, the ability to expand, whether that's in material ways or and sorry in wisdom. Also, before we get into what the book says, this they're both such powerful cards, right? This person is very in tune with nature, and it the like the in tuneness with nature is making everything grow around her. She's growing. The plants behind her are all in full bloom. And then in this card, you have this person that seems very powerful. It seems very much like shamanic priestess type energy, very much owning her power, very much owning her space and where she is. And it feels like that's the energy that comes from the transformation of the rebirth. Okay, let's get into the book. Okay, take a moment to imagine the Big Bang, the beginning of the universe. At first, there is endless darkness, and then suddenly a blast of brilliant light. In those moments, there is simultaneously nothing and everything that will ever exist. Now picture your womb space. It too is a limitless expanse of darkness. And like the beginning of the universe, every idea called to create or stirrings of something new is like a big bang, sparking life inside your sacred bowl. Your womb is pure potential. It is the portal for all creation. Anything that has ever happened in your life or ever will exist can be born, transformed, and healed through the sacredness of your sacral chakra. The womb card has come to you in a reading to awaken your sacred ability to create and to heal. The process of creation and healing are two sides of the same coin. To create, one must imagine something that has never been done. To heal, one must be willing to embrace a new way of being. And then we have the working that goes with this card. If y'all want to screenshot that. I love that. It speaks to everything that we already talked about. And the idea of your womb space being able to birth many things, not just children, and everybody having a womb space, no matter, what your gender is. Then we have abundance. Abundance is a state of being. You can allow yourself to become a victim of chance, or you can embrace the spirit of abundance through your expectation of always having enough. Do you have a sense of overflowing? Do you feel gratitude for everything that is in your life? Do you give thanks for the little things as easily as the huge wins? And with that, I would ask, do you see the negative or the fault in something more than you see the positive in it, or more than you sit in the gratitude? The word abundance often brings to mind financial wealth, but abundance can be expressed in all areas of life. This card guides you to feel abundance in whatever ways that you can. This feeling of abundance will call more abundance to you in return. If it's love you seek, feeling an abundance of joy can draw love closer to you. If you seek money, an abundance of hope can be your ticket to wealth and material success. Do not live in fear of not having enough. Be grateful for the riches that is already present in your life, and watch as more abundance flows to you. I love that. And then here we have some abundance affirmations for the working. You want to take a picture of that. Okay, and that is our words of wisdom for this week. And that is your reading, pile two. So let me know how this makes sense to y'all. Let me know how your week is, what happens, what comes up. If you need any more affirmations, or y'all, want to talk about anything that's going on, definitely leave a comment, like, and share, and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Follow me at Tiny Divinations on everything if you'd like your own reading. Book at wildheartbotanica.com. Subscribe to the Substack if you haven't already at Tiny Divinations. Both of our readings for the month are already out. We also have our bonus episodes and another bonus episode that is coming. So check that out. And if you have another pile, I will see you there. If not, thank you so much for reading with me. I will see you in the next reading. Welcome in pile 3 to your Tiny Week Ahead reading. Let's get into your cards. So, starting with your power animal, you had Raven. We'll get into that with your cards. So, let's get into the cards you had. So, you first had awareness, accelerated motion, universe, and material and spiritual prosperity. So, based on the cards that we have, the theme that I was getting for your week is knowing the skills that you possess, being more aware of the wisdom that you have, like whether that's psychic skills or actual wisdom or physical ability or your creative ability or your willpower, whatever it is, and being able to like tap into it this week, or learning how to tap into it this week to be able to move things forward or to be able to expand in life. It's very similar to pile two. Very similar. We even talked a little bit about it in pile one, but in like a different way. It's more similar in terms of like what we're looking for, what we're doing with it, like we had in pile two. Anyway, sorry y'all. There was this one that anyway, I killed it. It doesn't matter. Anyway, similar to the energy in pile two, there's this ability to tap into the universal knowledge. But in this case, unlike pile two, it feels like there's knowledge that you already have available to you. There's knowledge that you already know. There are tools that you already have that are accessible to you that you don't have to necessarily acquire. You just have to either remember them or actually use them or tap into them, right? Or in this case, since this person is looking up at the star, like believe in it, believe you can utilize it the way that you don't think that you can, or believe that you can utilize in a way that can actually bring you the success and the prosperity and the trappings of life that you want, in a way, like the grandeur, the elevation, right? Like part of what we talked about in pile two is like expansion and birth of things. And in this sense, it feels like a level of like taking your skills and utilizing your skills to almost juju your life to a level of elevation, to a level of like success and more that is worlds apart from where you are now, in a sense. So based on these cards, like I said, part of how you tap into it is the ability to tap into the tools that you already have. The other part of how it seems like you tap into it is tapping into the like magic of the universe, the wisdom of the universe, the spiritual connection that you have, right? The ability that you may have to obtain spiritual knowledge through divination, like things like that. It feels like using your tools with however you can connect with spirit, or your the celestials or your guides, or however you see it, to be able to expand and bring better. You know what I mean? Like it's like um very magician energy. Like it's like this is the magician in the Rider Waite deck, and then this would be the world card at the end. So again, it's like the not the very beginning of the fool's journey, because that would be the fool card, but like once you take the tools and put that shit in motion to get the world, right? The world card is about like putting all the things throughout the fool's journey into understanding, into practice, so that at the end of it you have like this full balance level of fulfillment, right? And then that to me would be this as the manifestation of that. So that's what I'm getting in terms of the theme for this week. Let me pull and see if there's anything else that comes in that we need to bring up. Patience. Oh, so we have patience and planning also, and then financial and material changes. So I also want to bring in the Raven card that you have. The characteristics that go with the Raven are knowledge, awakening, and divination. And again, like I said to the other piles, I bibliomancied the animals that we got prior to me pulling any of the cards for any of the piles. As usual, they always just go together. The shaman's intention is bring me the wisdom to understand what arrives on my doorstep. Okay. Bring me the wisdom to understand what arrives on my doorstep. And to me, the wisdom to understand what arrives on my doorstep has to do with having the wisdom to know what you actually carry, the power that you have, how you can utilize the skills that you have, how you can see the things that you're able to do naturally or that you've acquired as skills that you can use. Okay. Then we have in terms of, again, themes to add in, patience and planning, and financial and material changes. You have both of these cards that really speak to the ability to change the way that your life looks, to change the way that your finances look in a very like you know, tangible way. And again, we talked about this in pile two. So if pile two resonated to you, go watch that. But part of what it takes is this in between step from the practice and the application of the tools to the knowledge and awareness gained from using them, right? And that takes time, that takes practice, that takes a level of trying things, and in some cases studying more so that you can expand those skills, in some cases recognizing that like this may not be the best thing to utilize, or moving in ways that help you to like uh shore up your shit, you know what I mean? So like you know what tools you use better than others, you know what tools you need, you know what tools to let go, like kind of what am I trying to say, like better understanding your toolkit, for lack of a better way to say that, Um, so that to me is where the patience and planning comes in. And again, the financial material changes on top of the material and spiritual prosperity speak to the expansion that we can have, the elevation that we can have in mind and body, in physical form, right? And how we feel secure and safe, because all of these are also red cards that deal with the root. Okay. So these are the themes that I'm getting for your week. Let me pull some surrender cards to see the ways that we can best align with where the themes are taking us this week. Let's see what surrenders are best for pile 3 in terms of how to align with this energy. flow. Had that one fall on the flow. Okay. So we first had surrender to the magic of who you are. We all have magic in us, even the mundane aspects of life. Remember, excuse me. So we have surrender to the magic of who you are. We all have magic in us. Even in the mundane aspects of life, remember that you are a magical being with a uniqueness and worth that come from just being you. And again, we talked a lot about it feeling like the magician, right? You utilizing your skills, your magic, your power to, juju your life, using that to change your life. And first card that comes out. Then we have a lot of cards that speak um, to me, the awareness that we talked about, right? The knowledge, utilizing your tools. Part of the tools that you have is recognizing what you need to let go of or what needs to change or what you can and can't do. Like I said, shoring up your toolkit, right? So surrender your desire to control people. Being overly controlling can sabotage relationships. To more effectively achieve your goals, back off, regroup, and give the situation some breathing room. I feel like that comes in terms of, like I said, the awareness and being able to put knowledge into practice, right? And not having to learn certain lessons over and over again. That being a tool in itself. Surrender the idea that you can fix someone. It's time for a relationship to shift. It doesn't work to try to fix someone. Each person must be accountable for his or her own healing. Again, there's a knowledge and knowing that you can't help others before you can help yourself. There's a knowledge and knowing that sometimes we deflect. And part of the reason why we're so gung ho to try to fix other people is because we don't want to sit with things that need to be, fixed or sat with within ourselves. And the last card you have, move these back over, is surrender stubbornness. If you're tensing up or taking a rigid stance about something, gently observe yourself and become more yielding. This will help you communicate more lovingly with others and yourself. And that was kind of the second time that they talked about, or the third time that they talked about relationships and being able to be in relationship with being able to be in relationships with people and having amicable situations, having relationships that are balanced and aligned. And all three of these cards kind of speak to that, right? So there also may be this underlying theme of that this week where you kind of have friction with people, or you may come off too strong or overbearing, or they may come off too strong and overbearing. And if that's the case, then this is an acknowledgement of that, and it's telling you the ways in which we can kind of mitigate some of those things. But also, I would say if that's the case, then we may need to step back in a sense this week and align more with the things that we need to do. Maybe that's telling us that we don't necessarily need to be around people this week, and it's not about them, and it's not about you being around that, like, when you're in space with them, you're doing something wrong. It's more about the universe telling you that you may need to be in a separate space this week, that you may need to be more focused on yourself and the things that you're trying to practice and get to and figure out, so that you can move forward. And that these things, and being able to understand what you're good at, what tools you have, can even help you when you go back in situations in your relationship, in situations in community, And this week that we're doing this, there's actually a Libra new moon. These are timeless readings as always, but if this in some way is about partnership for you, that may be part of why it comes up, because we have this Libra energy, this relational energy, which very much is beyond just the community, but like specifically like partnership energy, right? So not necessarily just romantic, but people you are in very close connection individually with. So these are the surrenders that I get for your week. Let's end your reading with some words of wisdom. Okay. So, ending this week with some words of wisdom for you, pile three. Oh, we're going to go with these two. So, we have Sacred Temple and Balance. Beautiful cards. Let's get into what the book says. Before I get into what the book says, just quickly, um, from my intuition of the card, right? Um, this person is uniquely themselves, and they're very much sitting in who they are and embodying all of the things that are sacred about themselves, all the things that they embrace in life, all the things that are meaningful to them within the things that they have inked on their skin, within the way that they are carrying themselves, within what they're wearing, within how they adorn themselves, right? There's also the light shining in on them, and it feels like they're everything about them is sitting in themselves. And there's a part of this awakening energy that comes with you utilizing your skills and recognizing your skills and really um, allowing that to light and show you who you are and who you're becoming and who you could be. And this is what the Sacred Temple feels like to me, really owning yourself and what you're doing and what you could be doing, and that allowing you to own your power. Within the Balance card, we have the light of all of the things that you are and all of the magic that you are, but also the emotional side of the cards that you got that said, surrender to this, trying to control people or trying to fix this or this and that. It's a balance, right? We have the things that we're really good at and the tools and the skills that we have, and then we have the things that we may need to work on, or the things that we may need to integrate in a different way, or the things that we may need to uncover and heal and work through. And so I feel like this is what the Balance card speaks to me, the having the balance of you know both of those things, having the balance of what you're good at and your flaws, being able to integrate both those things, being able to own both of those things, being able to accept and acknowledge both of those things at the same time. So now let's see whatever the book actually says about these cards. Starting with the Sacred Temple. You have pulled this card to guide you back toward the path of self-respect and self-validation, to connect to your physical body, and to feel the power radiating from your skin. You are the goddess or god, and your body the temple. Your body is a record of every ancestor who walked before you. By honoring yourself, you're also honoring thousands of years of ancestral heritage, pride, and power. Adorn your body as if preparing for an altar. Take time to pamper yourself with a long bath and wear clothing that makes you feel beautiful. As you care for your physical form, silence your inner critic, the voice that compares your body to others and puts you down, and speak to yourself as if you are the powerful goddess capable of moving mountains. Knowing that you are worthy of reverence and care, and your value is intrinsic. Honor the beauty in every curve, the strength in every scar, and the worthiness inside your words and thoughts. Share yourself only with those who do the same. And then here we have the working that goes with the card. If you want to screenshot that. And then let's get into Balance. Light and dark, sun and moon, earth and sky. The earth is always in balance. Opposites work together toward the same goal, ebbing and flowing in a way that supports the well-being of our world. In the same way, the higher self and the ego are the balancing forces in the soul's ecosystem. Their methods may be different, but they are always seeking to bring you harmony and happiness. You are being guided to bring the higher self and the ego into balance. Imagine your higher self as the dawn, radiating sunlight and renewed energy. It supports life and allows you to see your path clear. The ego is sunset, shifting you into night and creating obstacles for you to overcome as it helps you build resilience. Be mindful of the energy of your energy at this time and consider where you need to be softer or where you might need to take more action. If you're feeling a lack of direction, then your spirit is challenging, then your spirit is in need of more attention. If you are finding it challenging to take action or to overcome challenges, you may be in need of better planning and practical thinking. And then here we have the ritual that goes with this card. So those are your words of wisdom, and that is your reading for the week, pile 3. Let me know what you think of this reading. Let me know how this makes sense to you, how this shows up for you in this week. Like and comment, share with a friend, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. If you'd like to book your own reading, book with me on wildheartbotanica.com. I have 2 offerings right now. We're adding a third before the month is over. Subscribe on the Substack at Tiny Divinations. Both of our monthly readings are out, the fairy tale reading and the monthly collective. We also have our bonus readings this month. And follow me on all the socials on TikTok, on IG at Tiny Divinations. So thank y'all so much for reading with me. As always, I appreciate y'all. If you have another pile, I will see you there. If not, thank you. I will see you in your next reading.